Wednesday, guys. So today we're continuing with our line plots. It is the last day, so tomorrow we're starting something new. So let's go ahead and get started. Today's teaching point. You have already learned how to make a line plot and how to solve problems using the data. Now we're going to learn how to interpret the data in a line plot. How do you understand statements related to the data? And then how do you interpret the data to make your own statements or draw your own conclusions? So here's our first question. Amber works at the grocery store. One day she recorded the weight of each melon before she put it in a bin. The line plot below shows the data that she collected. So you're going to be looking at a set of data about this line plot, and you have to determine which statement about the data is true. Now I'm going to give you a hint. When you get a problem like this, which is usually multiple choice and they'll give you 3 or 4 statements, you need to make sure that each statement is checked with the data in the line plot. It's important so that you can find which one is correct. So here's our first data point. There are 3 melons at the heaviest weight. The very first thing we need to do to solve this is to determine what is the heaviest weight that actually has a melon measured in that particular weight. So that would be 3 pounds. For 3 pounds, there was 1 melon. So if the heaviest weight is 3, we already can tell that this is incorrect because our heaviest weight only has 1 melon, not 3. So that means this answer is wrong. Our second data point says the heaviest melon is 2.5 times the weight of the lightest melon. So to figure this one out, we're going to have to take the heaviest weight, which we said was 3, and we're going to divide it by the smallest weight, which is 1/2. And when we do that, we should get 2 1/2 if the answer is correct. If the answer is incorrect, then we will not get 2 1/2. So let's try it out. 3 divided by 1/2. We're going to make that 3 into a fraction by adding 1 as a denominator. And now we got to remember that with division of fractions, we have to keep, change, and flip. So we're going to keep our first fraction. Here's our keep. We're going to change our symbol to multiplication, and then we are going to flip our second fraction. And when we do that, we get 6/1, which is equal to 6. 6 and 2.5 are not the same. So it looks as though this answer is incorrect as well, because the heaviest melon is actually 6 times the weight of the lightest melon. So now if you want to check to see if you're correct, we're going to do the inverse. We're going to say 6 times 1/2, and we should get 3. So 6 times 1/2 is equal to 6/2, which is equal to 3. That means that the heaviest melon is actually 6 times the lightest melon. So let's look at data point C. This one says that all of the melons weigh between 1 and 3 pounds. So the first thing I want to do is look and see, where do all the melons lie? And they lie in this boxed area. So notice there's no measurements for melons at 0 pounds. So everything is between the 1/2 and the 3 pounds, not between 1 and 3, because there are actual measurements that are at 1/2. So this is incorrect because the melons actually weigh between 1/2 pound and 3 pounds. So now let's try the letter D. The weight of the greatest number of melons is 1/2 pounds. So let's try that on this slide. First thing we need to look at is which of the data points has the most amount of X's on it, and that would be 1/2, 1 and 1/2. So 1 and 1/2 has the most data points on it to show that this is the one that has the greatest numbers of melons. So C was incorrect, D is correct. That would be the correct answer because there are the greatest number of melons over 1 and 1/2 pounds. So this option is correct because the data shows that the weight with the most melons is 1 and 1/2 pounds. So now this is another type of question that you might get related to the data. Okay, you'll get an option where you have to determine which of the data points is correct, and then you might get something like this where it says Shrina chose B as the correct answer. How did she get that answer? So if we go back and look at B, B was the one that said that the weight of the greatest or the heaviest melon was 2 1/2 times greater than the lightest melon. So what she did was she subtracted 3 minus 1/2. She had to regroup because you can't subtract 3 minus 1/2 without regrouping. And she made it 2, and here's your whole that, remember, we use the same as our denominator on the bottom, so 2 over 2 minus 1 over 2, and she got 2 1/2. So her answer was incorrect because she used the wrong operation to solve.